Hi everyone, I'm Irene and welcome to the Field Guide. First thing I want to do is wish everyone a very happy new year. Let's hope that this year is a lot better than the last one. Today I'm in Black Rock Forest Preserve in Cornwall on Hudson, New York, and I am on the original and one of the oldest roads in the area, the old Continental Road that the Continental soldiers of the American Revolutionary War built and used as a way to get from West Point to Cornwall and Newburgh Bay. In order to show you my route, I'm going to use a 1938 Black Rock Forest Bulletin, number 8, when Henry H. Tryon was director. And this just happens to be the glacial geology of Black Rock Forest by C.S. Denny. That is of no consequence. The reason I'm using this map is because it's very simple, and today's trail maps are loaded with trails, so it would be a little more difficult to see what I'm talking about. So if you look to the top of the screen, that's north, the right is east, the left is west, and down is south. The black line is the original border of the forest. These red lines in here don't really make a difference. They're just part of the explanation for the geology project that was done for this bulletin. Up in this area is Cornwall. Next, north of there is Newburgh Bay, and to the west is George Washington's last cantonment. So the road came through here, and this is the path that I took, with Canterbury Brook to my right and Frog Hill to my left. Now you will see that this says the Continental Road, but this is a newer road. Like I said in the video, they would not have bothered crossing over. Now this still exists, but I do not believe, and according to the forest historian, that was not the original road. It was more of a logging road. So I came up through here, along Canterbury Brook, crossed over Hulse Road, went around the back of the swamp, and as you can see, there's a dotted line. There's an old trail here. I believe that that is exactly what I was walking on, which was also the Continental Road. From here, what you don't see is the White Oak Road, which was built later than 1938. But what I did was I crossed over that and then I stopped. So this is about halfway through the forest. The forest is only 2 by 3 miles. It's not quite large. So from there, if I do another video, I'm going to see, with some help from the historian, what happened to the road. I think it disappears right in this area, and then it just might pick up on part of what is considered the modern Continental Road. And then as it makes its way towards West Point, it may also follow some of these trails here. I'm not positive about that, but it would make sense for it to go down through one of these valleys, or possibly even follow this road. It may even go over to this side and come down through that valley, because they wouldn't have traversed this. I mean, that's what is that? That's like 1,100 feet. That's pretty steep. And then it went right down into West Point. I hope that makes sense. Right in here is an old roadbed. You can see that. And it heads down into the town of Cornwall and then onto the river. And this was the original Continental Road in the Canterbury Road area of Cornwall, New York during the American Revolution. So this road was trod on by many American soldiers, Revolutionary War soldiers, and George Washington himself. It was basically what they had as the main highway between Cornwall, Newburgh, and south of here, West Point. Here's a good example of the efficiency that the Continental soldiers had to use when they were building a road. This road, as you can see, goes up around the back of these northern red oaks, up to this rise. Over here is a stream. They did not have time to build a bridge, so they ran parallel with water whenever they could. Another level of efficiency by the soldiers when they built a road was to make use of a valley. And as you can see, we have a rocky escarpment up there. There was no reason for them to go over the top of that. It just would have taken an awful lot of effort, would have meant possible injury, and an awful lot of wasted time. So here we are, looking down the slope of a valley that heads down to the town of Cornwall. Much easier. Okay, well, water, as we know, is quite mercurial, and it will take the path of least resistance. I believe that this is still the old Continental soldiers' trail right up through there. I lost track of it way down there, but as you can see, right in this area in here, possibly, you can still see a little bit of the old roadbed itself. But because water decided to be an opportunist, it washed out an awful lot of it. So I'm just going by instinct right now, but it looks like I'm still on the right track. Well, I just walked to the other side of this hill, which is looking north, and that flatter area looked like a good choice for a roadbed. Because originally, as I was coming up this hill, I thought, would they hug that cliff? It's a pretty steep climb. This was an underfunded and undersupplied army. Would have been a bit of a chore to do this on very few rations. But I do believe that this is the Continental Road. And the farther up I go, the more the puzzle will come together, because I might be able to see more of the roadbed on a more level plane. But could you imagine? I know they had horses, but not always. And they had artillery to move over these mountains. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at the size of that grapevine. That's something, huh? This has been growing here unmolested for a very long time. And there it goes. And that's another thing to keep in mind. All these trees were not here. This is possibly 6th, 7th, 8th growth since the soldiers came through, when this area was settled in the early 1600s. Earlier part of the 1600s. And yeah, it was all for fuel. So you didn't have all this in your way. You had a clear shot, and a clear shot of a great view of the Hudson River, which is still in our view. So this road was actually extremely well planned. I'm sure they were very happy to see this once they got through the forest coming from West Point, because it meant sustenance. They could sit down and drink some ale and have something to eat. And here we are. Here's the road making a curve right here. A lot of it has washed away over the years. And there it goes, right down through there. So that's the next piece of the puzzle. It doesn't look like it, but I believe that this is the continuation. Beautiful American beech tree here, young next to the old. And it's got a little bit of fire starter on it. It's pretty dry. So on a day like today, you'll probably have some pretty good luck with that. In a pinch. Well, I appear to have lost the road itself, well, at least by physical definition. But I know I'm in the right vicinity, because to the right of me, in this ravine here, is Canterbury Creek. And that means that I'm still on one of the Canterbury roads of Old Cornwall. And as long as I keep this hillside, which is called Frog Hill, to my left shoulder, I'm on the right path. So I'm within pretty quick reach of a very discernible part of the original road. So I can't make up my mind what I want to do. This side, I've got this escarpment in my way. And there's a hollow up through there. Could that be the road as it hugs closer to Frog Hill, which is historically accurate to a good extent? Or do I go this way, and just beyond there is the Canterbury Creek? And it kind of looks like there might be a bit of a road there, possibly. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to scramble up in here and see if it looks like there's a way through. Okay, so I made the wrong decision, but I'm still going in the general direction. I should have stayed down in the creek valley. Instead, I climbed all the way up here. Now, on the other side of this escarpment is one of the utility roads that is used today by the Forest Consortium. So once I get onto that, even though I'm going to miss the portion of the old Continental Road down in there, I'm going to pick up the continuation of it up here at the foot of Black Rock Mountain. Great bobcat country, huh? Now, this modern day road is not called Continental. This is called Hulse Road, named after Dr. Hulse, who lived down the road to the right in that clearing down there. I don't know of any pictures of his house, but I hear it was quite elegant and spectacular. What a great place to live. The only thing I regret is not bringing my coffee. Here it is, the continuation as it meets up with the modern day road. And I wasn't too far off. And if you look down through here, you'll see that it goes off to the right. And that's somewhat modern day, but down through the mountain laurel is the original road. And it did hug Canterbury Creek. Okay, so we're back on the Continental Road. And I just cut across Hulse Road. And look at what I found. Now, I know for certain from the forest historian that this road skirted around this swamp. So I know I'm in the right area, but look at this. Not really a retaining wall, but there's structure there. And I know that this comes out on the other side. So I didn't expect to do this much of a walk on it. I didn't want to go through the whole forest, but when I'm done, this will be half of the Continental Road through the Black Rock Forest. Pretty neat, huh? We're walking in the footsteps of history. Nice stand of hemlocks. It's great to see that after the woolly adeljig destroyed them about 20 years ago. These, I wonder if they are and they probably are, the offspring of the original that was here, which would have been this old fella right here. And either the parasite died off, but I don't think it did, because sometimes when I do find hemlock, like in a cemetery, you still see it. It looks like a powdery mildew on the needles. And I'm looking at these, pretty easy to see. Almost looks like dust, but I don't see any on here. So I gotta wonder if, very similar to the American ash tree, that possibly these were lingering hemlock that are resistant to the woolly adeljig. The tree that I just explained that I saw in the cemetery with the parasite on it is probably been standing there for many, many years, and just because of its environment, which is somewhat protected, it has not succumbed, or the parasite has not had a chance to take over to the point where it sucks the life out of the plant. So to continue on our way, it's getting a little bit messy in here. Oop, almost poked my eyeball out. That's not a good thing. I need those. Need both of them. But we are still on the Continental Road, even though it gets a little squirrely in here. I think that's it right there. But I'm just going to charge right through here. Also, another thing about the hemlocks, water. If you need to find water, look for some hemlocks or red maple, and you will find a spring. And this looks like a pretty nice one, and I think what it's doing is, and it probably is, it is basically feeding that swamp right out there. Okay, there's our water coming out of the base of the mountain. This is the Black Rock Mountain proper over here. The peak is over this way. This is the lowlands of it. And I can see some rock walls through there, and it's probably coming right out of there. Now, if you look ahead, you'll see it looks like tires marks have been through here. And they probably have, because over the years, this has still been an accessible part of the original Continental. So, again, being an outdoor laboratory, if they needed to get in here to do some projects, it was just easy access. And that's why it looks like a modern-day road, but it actually isn't. It's a very old road used for a modern-day use. Oh, and by the way, this area of Black Rock, I'm about 1,500 feet above sea level right now. The guys in the Fish and Game Club were telling me that they did not have a problem with EHD up here. And it may be because of these springs. And a lot of the guys got some really nice big bucks. In fact, a good friend of mine got a 10-pointer not far from here. Interesting. Different environments at different elevations. Look at over here. That's a great source for water to run down through the rocks. I'd love to do a test on all the water around here too. Another day, another project. And here we are, still on the Continental Road. Somebody left a deer stand out here. Now, as far as I know, most of the members of the forest aren't allowed to leave anything out here. I could possibly be wrong about that, but I would tend to think that that has something to do with part of the consortium, one of the universities or schools. This is where the road ends on the White Oak Road, which is the modern road. And I'm not going to continue because this is actually almost perfectly halfway through the forest. I'll pick that up in another video. But if you look across the road between these two trees, the Continental Road continues. Well, thank you everyone for joining me. That was fun. I could have kept going and going, but I better not. Better call it quits for now. Got some things to do. And I sure do appreciate taking you along with me, and I hope you liked a little bit of a history lesson about the area. To me, it is like having a precious gem to have a road that's that old. To me, anyways, in my hometown that I can just, you know, at whim, just go take a walk on. And it's like, you know, walking into the past. It's a pretty cool thing. All right, folks, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Have a great day.